Watch and burn.
Hey everyone. So tonight I wanted to discuss Woodkid's debut album, and that is The Golden Age. Now this was released a number of years back, and it is, I think, most famous for having the track Iron used really effectively well in the trailer, or used for the trailer for Assassin's Creed. That bug was really getting on my nerves there. It was used really well for the trailer for Assassin's Creed Revelations, which, of course, if you played the Assassin's Creed games, you know that that would be the last game starring Ezio Auditore, who was my personal favorite from the Assassin's Creeds. Well, I also really liked Edward Kenway, too, as well as Altair, but Ezio was my favorite. And the reason that I wanted to discuss this record was mainly because there's a lot of classical elements implemented throughout the course of this album, and unlike other modern albums that do choose to employ classical sounding instruments, a lot of the time they are recreated digitally. And considering that digital music production has reached such heights that it is very easy to confuse what is a genuine, say, woodwinds for synthetic woodwinds and acoustic percussion and, synthetic percussion and so on and so forth. But what I like about this record is that I genuinely believe that Woodkid used actual strings for the string parts and woodwinds for the woodwind parts, as well as, acoustic drums for the acoustic drum parts. I believe the percussive elements are natural in all of the instruments that he used to write the album. I believe that when you hear a tuba, that it's actually a tuba. And I think that it's also really unique for him to choose to write hooks for songs, and songs in general, using classical instruments, because classical music isn't exactly what it used to be as far as its social standing is concerned. I mean, you go back a couple hundred years and it was the social standard. Everybody like Beethoven and Stravinsky, those guys were like Metallica and Iron Maiden. But, things have changed, of course, and the landscape for music, especially pop music, has changed so significantly over the past couple hundred years that at this point classical music doesn't quite have the pull that it used to. And that's sad, because you can see here that when somebody who is more pop-focused chooses to use classical instruments, that it can be used incredibly well. And with tracks like Run Boy Run, as well as The Shore, I Love You, and so on, this record is proof positive that classical instruments and classical elements can still be used honestly in newer music without having to resort to using, digital recreations of said classical instruments. I love Moby, for example. He employs a lot of digital string usage throughout the course of his music, and I've always really liked that about Moby, is that he was never afraid to experiment with strings, and I like that his strings have always been digital. Well, at least up until his gramophone release, which is his current release, which is a hell of a lot more honest. But I liked how his string use was always synthetic. It fits his aesthetic. Wow, I said aesthetic and synthetic all at the same time there. Synthetic, aesthetic. I said them right, too, and I didn't twist my tongue up at all. It's amazing. But that's what I like about Moby. But what I love about this is that there were actual classical instruments used. And I think it really shows that, like I said, they have a lot to offer. And I wish more young people, actually, I wish there would be this whole teen-focused movement where there would be a whole bunch of classical tracks being made using actual violins and tubas and trumpets, because I think that is one area of music that is definitely going untapped. Everybody's sort of focusing on more of a digital hip-hop production, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it does get sort of repetitive, and then they'll go back to a rock focus. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it always seems to be the two types of music everybody listens to is either hip-hop or rock, and I feel like a lot of different music is being tossed aside, and classical is definitely one of those types of music that I feel could be used a lot more than it currently is. So it's nice that people like Woodkid are attempting to keep it alive by using these traditional classical instruments. And I think I'm going to go. And so I have, just so you know too, I have a light on an umbrella because it is supposed to rain. And so I figured it would be smart to put one on an umbrella just in case I started to get soaked, and that way my mic won't get fucked because I can just kind of step over it like this and everything's been protected. So yeah, so I am going to go. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discussed Woodkid's debut album, The Golden Age. If you liked this review, like always, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.